What's good, everybody? We are back with a Beast Talk exclusive.
Yes, this is just Jill checking in, and tell them who we got today, Terrence.
All right, today we got the creators of Shoot with a Camera, Not a Gun. How y'all doing today?
It's good to see you, brother.
Doing good, doing good.
Okay. Tell the people who you are. What's your name?
My name is Justice Anderson. I'm a senior cinematography major from Little Rock, Arkansas at Tim Morehouse College.
And my name is Timitayo Ogoro. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. And I'm actually an African-American studies major, senior, and I love teaching kids to shoot with the camera, not a gun.
That's what's up.
Got the Morehouse men in the room.
Morehouse men in the room. Okay.
Oh, yes.
I didn't know you was a singer, too.
Senior, singer, you can say it all, brother.
Oh, you said senior. I thought you said singer. I was like, okay.
It's good to see ya. All right, enough of that.
All right, so every interview that we do, we start with a game called Black Card Revoked. We use it as an icebreaker. It's a game that's kind of tests your blackness, as they say, quote unquote. So, without further ado, here we go.
All right.
Just Jill, take it away.
All righty. First question. Jerome for Martin is a player from where? A, Detroit, B, Harlem, C, Chicago, D, the Himalayas.
D, a player from the Himalayas.
Hey. All
right. What? Oh, my bad. Who's poor, black, and may even be ugly, but dear God, they're still here? A, Nanny from Laquana Blues. B, Pookie from New Jack City. C, Reva from Boys in the Hood. Or D, Celie from The Color Purple.
Ooh, I'm going to have to go with Pookie on that one because the brother didn't look too good in New Jack City, but he is still here.
It's actually D.
It's
Celie from The Color Purple.
Hey, I didn't know that joint either.
Celie?
You know,
Celie from
Color
Color Purple.
Okay.
There was like a scene in
Yeah,
there.
at the end, she's like, dear God, I'm still here. I may be black. I may be ugly.
That's Tyson. Who played that?
Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, you know your stuff, brother. You know your stuff.
All right, we got another one. Which character from Martin lived on the 5th floor? A, Roscoe, B, Hustle Man, C, Dragonfly Jones, or D, Bruh Man?
Hey, what they say in Atlanta? Hey, bruh, man. Hey, hey, bruh.
We ain't asking no more Martin questions because you definitely watch Martin.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Last time he checked, he was a man of these streets. A, Young Jeezy.
Oh.
B, Jay-Z. C, Lil Wayne. D, Drake.
Brother, it ain't winter outside, but Jeezy the Snowman did say that.
Okay. All right, here goes one everybody should know.
He's a genius, man.
I see.
You can't get him.
All right, here we go. In what year did Cash Money Records take over? A, 2001 to 2002. B, 1999 to 2000. C, 1997 to 1998. Or D, 2004 to 2005.
I don't see any sisters running to the dance floor right now, but 99 to the 2000.
Yeah, you already know what time it is.
All right, final question. We're going to switch it up.
Oh, yeah.
So before he was a member of the Nation of Islam, what was Malcolm X called? A, Young Slim. B, Little Red. C, Brother Harlem. Or D, Detroit Red.
Detroit Red, sir.
All right. Well, you know your shit. Go ahead.
That's a genius right there.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect icebreaker. Perfect. All right, everybody, we're going to take a little break, but we will be back with more from Beast Talk. All right, everybody, this is your boy T. Brad, and we are back.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're back, you guys. Let's go ahead and jump right into the interview. So, you guys already introduced yourselves in school and where you're from.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about this organization that you guys have, Shoot with a Camera, Not a Gun.
Definitely.
Let's go ahead and talk about that. So, what is that?
So if you guys have time, I might as well go ahead and tell the whole story because this is a narrative that can truly change the world.
Okay.
Me and my brother were working for FCA. Of course, my brother here, you guys can't see. Justice Anderson, the brother right next to me. And during FCA, first off, it's called Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And that whole notion is to try to get kids athletically acclaimed in an activity or a sport where they can do team building activities so you can get their attention to them, preach them the gospel of Jesus Christ. So Fellowship of Christian Athletes has been around for a long time. I don't know the exact details of that particular organization, but our main goal as an intern for FCA, me and my brother, was to go into specific communities and become a coach and a mentor to the kids in underdeveloped communities. Of course, we were out in Atlanta, so our job was to go through to the Atlanta Metroplex and kind of use our way of teaching, which was athletics, to kind of course, like I just said, get these kids in a different direction in life, on a more positive direction and help them understand the gospel. So one day, actually, we were in this particular community called Adamsville, and
That's where I live at.
Okay, so
Down
you
in
already know the
Adamsville,
temp. Yeah.
The temp.
Yep. We was at the temp, and we were actually inside this community. And sometimes there's a lot of violence that can happen within that particular area that just leaves room for violence and destruction. So we had, I guess, a day prior, me and my boys that worked for FCA, the interns, we all went to make flyers to let the kids know that we were coming here to set up a lot of different activities for them to get involved in. So we were going to bring blow-up houses, soccer goals, soccer balls, jerseys, cones, nets, anything you could think of that could get the kids kind of actively involved and at least be able to have fun and then be able to listen to the gospel.
Okay.
So we got into this community, right? And on that day, and we started setting up everything. We had tents, we had the music out there, we had cones, everything you could think of to kind of attract a child to want to have fun through athletics. We had it out there, and the kids kind of started gazing. They kind of gathered together up on this hill. You know that part of Adamsville where it's just blank landscape where you can...
Yeah, just the grass.
At the back.
Yeah,
at the
bottom,
grass.
yeah.
Kind of past the mailboxes. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's where we were, and that's where we set up everything. And there's like a hill that kids can run down to come to that patch from. And there was about 40 to 50 kids that were standing up on the hill waiting for us to say, all right, come on, let's go have fun. Mm-hmm. So the kids were waiting so patiently they couldn't wait anymore. We weren't even done setting everything up. They just started coming down and kind of, I guess you could say, tearing things up. They started acting crazy. We had one of the dudes that worked with us that was an intern for FCA. He was a European brother, and he was already unfamiliar with the area itself. FCA of course was very diverse, but the people that were in charge most of the time were European, which isn't, I'm not going to say it's bad, but there's certain things that you can't socially understand if you're not a specific culture.
A part of that community, yeah.
So part of the community, yes. So these people, the European brothers that we were working with, kind of felt out of place already. They already understood the environment they were in, and they weren't trying to have much confrontation. Just really do the job, get it done, and get out of here.
Yeah, and just leave, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you could tell that. They didn't have to say that, but you could just tell. The kids ran down. One of them hit him in the neck.
God.
The back of the neck?
They hit him in the back of the neck. They did the little sign to where you get a neck if you look at it. Of course, they looked, and his whole face had turned red. The other kids, he had fallen to the ground. The other kids are running right over him, getting to the soccer balls, punting the soccer balls in different directions, hanging on the soccer goals,
kids
breaking
going
those.
ham.
They made the bouncy house go down. If you have enough kids to make a bouncy house go down, you know that those kids can...
Oh, they were lit.
They were lit.
Yeah.
And all while this was happening, me and my friend we were photographers for FCA as well. Mm-hmm. We just had our camera on us at all times because we love capturing media. We love making memories. But at this particular time, we were shooting everything that was going on. And it was funny because to us, we understand what these kids were doing. You could feel the excitement that they had, which kind of could almost influence a whole negative nature that you might perceive if you were someone.
Yeah.
But I already understood what they were going through. So I was taking pictures, and an 8-year-old boy walked up and was like, hey, man, what is that? Y'all got a gun? And instantly then, we just handed him the camera. We were like, nah, man, this is a tool that can create life. You could shoot the life into somebody with this. And so he looked at us with his eyes, and, he had that gaze and that glare in his eye that was just like, oh my goodness, you could almost see his life being changed right then just from a new way of thinking, from that word being said. And so patiently we just showed him how to work the camera, start taking pictures. And at the same time, all this chaos is still going on in the background, of the kids just tearing everything up, acting wild, just like kids. Kids are kids, and there's no way to judge innocence, you know. But we do that in America, of course. So the perception was that be calm with these kids because they're in this environment. You know, you have to treat them this way. Nah, you know. So it was crazy. The kids all started gathering from different areas because they saw this boy holding the camera and he started shooting and taking pictures of people. And so then we were like, you know, start getting people together, get them in the groups. You know what I'm saying? And at this moment, we weren't even thinking of shoot with the camera, not with the gun, as a way where you can change people's perception in life.
Yeah.
But we were just having fun with the kids, you know, really trying to let them live and let them learn, you know. So all 50 kids, boys and girls, ages 5 to 18, started gathering around, and the camera started getting tossed around all over the place, you know. So that's when we were like, all right, we got to get our camera because I ain't trying to get my stuff broken. And instantly then we were like, if you want to learn how to shoot with the camera, not a gun, get in a single file line. And instantly then all those boys and girls got in a single file line and waited patiently as we assisted each one of them the ability to shoot with the camera, not a gun. So that was very powerful at that moment because instantly then you saw a situation go from pure chaos in this environment where we already perceived a certain situation happening to a whole different educational situation happening. You know, these kids started getting a gain of passion, a gain of will to want to create, you know, and they fell in love so much they didn't want me to leave, you know. They didn't want me and my boy to leave. They were like, yo, where y'all going, man? Like, come, like, you got to have us as bros, you know. Yeah. So that's when we decided to truly dedicate, not only because me and my boy, he's got younger kids that he's grown up with. We got little brothers and sisters. We've always loved kids. You know, we're big kids ourselves. But one thing that was very powerful was that we were actually able to show them our passion, which was using cameras, and kind of not make them gain that passion, but as a human being, when you see an image, it almost creates a sense of reality of a past memory. And depending on what that image is, if it's something of yourself, you smiling, when you have a professional image that you get to see of yourself, every person is pleased because you're not able to see yourself in that type of light. You know, it's almost like, oh my goodness, like you see a good image of yourself smiling, you're like, you know what, I do got a good smile, you know? Yeah. But it's not even about just that image, it's how we can create that image. You know what I'm saying? So we then gained a sense in our own selves to dedicate teaching kids how to shoot with the camera, not with the gun, of all sorts. So that's kids in underprivileged communities. That's children like our brothers and sisters. That's kids at Morehouse College. That's even older adults that aren't even familiar with technology right now. Okay. You know, and it's important because when you see an image or a picture or a visual representation of yourself in another form, it's nothing but happiness, you know. But I'm gonna let my brother talk. My bad.
Oh no, you did.
In a way, to piggyback off of what Timmy was saying, in a way, when we brought out the cameras over at Allen Temple when the kids were acting very chaotic, the camera somehow calmed down their chaos and allowed their creativity to come out.
Definitely.
And when he's saying that a picture of somebody smiling makes someone happy or makes them happy, it gave those kids a sense of value to their own life, I would say, because now they not only see a picture of themselves smiling, but then they can get behind the camera and take a picture of someone else smiling. Definitely. And then that's their picture. And then that's the person's picture of who had the picture taken of them. So it places more of a sense of valuability to their life, and more of a sense that they have, that they can create something. Yeah. And that they're not just, you know, in a stagnant place like they see their peers and whatnot.
I have a question. Is the camera that you had, was it like just like one of those cameras like that? It's crazy that he mistook a camera for a gun. That's why I was like...
It was... I guess you could say it was...
He thought it was a gun?
You're right. And I guess you could say it was professional.
He heard the shutter speed on it.
Oh,
that's probably
Yeah, he heard that.
Definitely. And that noise... You know, there's certain noises that can almost influence a whole different type of attitude.
Wow.
That's crazy. It's really dope how you all just, you know, go out there and give back within the community. So I think that's an amazing, accomplishment within itself. How can people that are listening to this interview, how can they find you all? What's the best way to reach you all if they want to put their kid in this organization?
We have cell phones, social media, any way. There's multiple ways with technology nowadays to reach us. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't reach us through technology, we're around campus at Morehouse all the time. We would love to have people just come to that campus community to not only see Black excellence, but see brotherhood and see families created all through the lens of the camera, And, of course, that's what we do. We love to focus on this aspect of using media as a way to kind of get to people emotionally, so then we could have a new train of thought that's created. Like I said, I'm an African American Studies major, and I really started school as a bio major, but it's crazy how I kind of transformed to African American Studies, and people are like, "What do you do with an African American Studies major?"
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I get that question all the time. Like, it's like, oh, what do you want to do?
Exactly.
The same fucking thing you do with
we
your
want to
degree.
help
Like,
the community.
what do you mean?
Yeah, and one thing going back to learning about history that's important is looking at the prominent figures in our life that changed the course of history for the presence as we live in it today. Of course, one of those prominent figures is Martin Luther King. He went to Morehouse College. Shout out to the brothers of Morehouse. But Martin Luther King was very important because, as we all know, he was a very large agent in causing a change in the whole civil rights movement. But the way he did it was very key. That's one thing we have to look at, especially with technology and media today. Martin Luther King was so powerful because he required photographers at his side at all time. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah,
And
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and you ask why, and the reason for that was because he demanded that photography and media was necessary in his own protest, because that was a way people could visually see what he was talking about.
Okay.
When you
yeah,
had a
makes
picture of a dog, a police dog biting a young Black boy, and you saw that in the paper the next morning, you have white priests that are reading these papers and seeing these images. And then you have Martin Luther King, a civil rights activist, coming and speaking out with using these images, saying, you see these images of these boys getting brutally harmed by society, police. If you're a white priest or any type of official of any culture, I want you to come march with us if you're a Christian, because, that's the duty of Luke 4:18-19. To heal a broken heart, And one thing Martin Luther King always said was the Spirit of the Lord was upon him to make a change. And he understood that spirit is in all of us as people, And the best way to get to people emotionally is to show them, again, a visual representation, maybe even of themselves.
That's what's up. That was a very insightful, heartfelt, and
Martin Luther King.
like a lot of answers, man. I like that. I really like that. So we're gonna take a little break, but we will be right back with Justice and Timoteo. All right, we are back. So since your organization focuses on getting children to put down guns and pick up cameras, what is your take on gun violence within the African American community?
My take on gun violence within the African American community is that I feel like it's at an all-time high, and I do feel like gun violence in the African American community can be decreased. And the reason that I say that is because I feel like most of the people that are committing crimes with gun violence are people that didn't have too much time on their hands and that are looking for quick money or a quick way to gain satisfaction within themselves. So if we institute or if we substitute guns with something else like cameras or maybe microphones or maybe, I don't want to use sports, for basketball, or maybe something a little bit more constructive for people to wrap their mind around, that they're bigger than the environment that they're in, then I feel like gun violence can decrease. Because I don't necessarily feel like that banning guns or saying that you need a license or saying that you don't need a license to have a gun, I don't feel like any of that is going to stop people from getting guns. I feel like people are going to get guns regardless. But I do feel like if you substitute the object of a gun with something else that can produce something that is of a positive nature instead of a negative nature, then yeah, you can decrease it. You can definitely can go down.
So what do you say to those that would say, oh, that's a far-fetched idea? It sounds, utopian. Like what do you say to people like that?
Well, for instance, everyone loves to aim and capture a target because it feels humanely self-accomplishing. When you take, for instance, archery, or when you ask people if they want to go to a shooting range, in their head, it's like, I've never actually thought of capturing a target. Video games that we play today, in all aspects, deal with that same concept of aiming, capturing a target, and once you capture that target, you feel acclaimed. Now, with photography, if you even look at the shape of how the camera is made, it's so similar to a gun that you can only differentiate the two, I feel like, between good and evil, And a camera is something that can also produce bad images, of course, but it also has the ability to change a life just off of an image itself, capturing and aiming at a target and capturing it in its still form and having that's something valuable. And a gun on the other hand, it can definitely protect people and it can create power, but at the other hand, it can't bring any life into the situation. Somebody or someone will always suffer from a gun. And, you don't want to ever think always that you have to suffer to get success. But instead, you can start to think that success can come from success. And that's the whole notion of creating a new positive perception in people. Not only trying to create a way where people can aim and capture a target in a good way, or not even just to focus on getting a tool that can create positive profit. But now it's creating a whole perception of positivity going through people's minds. So, when it comes to those people that are like, I like to shoot my gun. Well, yeah, you'd probably love to shoot a camera too, man.
Yeah.
You'd love to go to an archery range, and it's all about getting people to try it out. You can't ever force anything on people, but you can always influence people by being, a positive role model or having a positive tool.
That's interesting. I know that earlier we discussed the, violence and how violence through guns goes on within the African American community. What do you all think specifically about black on black crime as it pertains to gun violence?
I think black on black crime pertaining to gun violence is the end result of the African American community and the environment that person is in. I feel like black on black crime only starts within the within the black community because it is black on black crime. So within the community, we see things on TV and we see things on the news that demean black people and demean black people that live in these certain neighborhoods and whatnot. So if you see somebody that's wanted by APD and it's a black face, and you don't necessarily recognize that black face, but I'm pretty sure you recognize a lot of faces that look like that. So then when they have the news, and the only time cameras do come to the hood is when the news is there to cover something that's not good. So then when the news comes with the cameras to report on the shooting or report on the person that's wanted, then when the kid sees that or when someone sees that, they psychologically begin to repeat that cycle. They psychologically begin to feel like that is the way that their life should be. So then when something does happen to them and it's a black person, instead of them looking at it like, that's a black person, that's my brother, really, that's my ancestor, maybe I should look at this a different way and maybe try to help them out so that the police don't get involved. Instead of doing that, they've seen the news so much about what's going on in their community, they're going to reenact what they saw in their community. So I really feel like black on black crime has a lot to do with the media and what's being portrayed on TV and what's being portrayed on the radio.
Definitely.
So when you change the media, when you actually get cameras to some people that are like-minded or the people that want to promote positivity, then what happens when you promote somebody planting a garden in their black community on the news?
Changes the mindset.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
change the mindset.
That's cold right there.
I totally agree with that. I think that the narrative of what is black needs to be changed.
Definitely.
Especially in the media, because like we said all the time on our show, being black isn't monolithic. It's not a singular way to be black. But oftentimes in the media, we only see one type of black represented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I totally feel you all. I think that promoting positivity would definitely, ultimately,
especially in
Right.
communities like that. Like,
yeah, especially in the
Yes.
private communities.
it just shows a different outlook because most of those kids down there, all they know is, okay, the only way out is either to trap
Right.
or
Play
to
sports.
play sports.
Or
Yeah.
play
Like,
sports.
and so it's like they don't think of, oh, I could be a photographer, or oh, I could be a computer engineer. Like,
Right.
I know growing up, y'all use MySpace and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The people that used to make the pages.
Right.
Yeah.
That's web development. That's
Exactly.
HTML coding. Like, I know so many people that I went to school with that were really good at that in like middle school. And it's like
Exactly.
you didn't even realize like you could be working a really good paying job right
Exactly.
now just off of that skill alone. And
That's
so
building your
it's just
page.
things like that. Like they didn't promote. There's positive things like that need to be
Yeah.
promoted. Different things like that definitely need to be
It
promoted.
is.
I do agree with that.
It definitely has to do with the media. And another thing I feel like about black on black crime is I was watching a recent interview about the violence in Chicago. They had
Yeah.
762 murders to end out 2016, which is absurd. And he had asked a gang member, do you think that this violence will ever stop? Do you ever think it will be a cease to it? And he replied, hell no, it won't stop. Why? Because there's people that have died behind this war. There's my brother died. How you gonna tell somebody to stop shooting someone if that person killed your cousin 2 years ago and you see
Yeah.
him walking around the street again? Well, I feel like you can combat that by what we see, again, by what we see on the TV, by what we hear on the radio. So if we hear and see more things or more narratives, more movies, more storylines, more TV shows about people actually digging deep down and letting go of
That
that
hurt,
anger and
yeah.
that hurt and turning a new leaf, then I really feel like that things will change within the black community, because the only time we read about someone turning a new cheek or turning a heart is if we read it on MLK or if we read it in the Bible. But when do we ever see something on TV or hear something on radio about somebody forgiving one that's done something to them?
Do you think that turning a cheek, or especially in current times, turning a cheek or looking the other way, or basically fixing the situation, do you think that ties in with the issue of masculinity within the black community? Because if a black man today does that, they will be perceived as weak or
Right.
feminine or homosexual, and that's a whole nother
Right. But then again, yes, that is very true. That is very true. But then that goes back to the power of the image. So what happens if you see a brother that's very masculine giving another brother a hug? He's not homosexual or anything. They're both straight. But you see them giving each other a hug and a dap and a smile. And you see an image of that. You see a video of that. You see that on TV. Then that in that mind promotes that other kid to say, I don't have to be a girl in order to hug my bro. I don't have to be a girl in order to dap my bro up and smile at the camera.
Yeah.
Like, that's my homie. We've taken pictures of people that are so disconnected from society that they're not on social media anymore because of legal reasons. But when they see a picture of them dapping up their brother with a smile on it, they love it.
Yeah.
So I believe that it's the power of the image. If you can change the image of a black man, but if you can change the image of a masculine black man to still be masculine and black and promote positivity instead of being masculine, black, and promoting negativity like America wants us to think, then I really feel like that can change a lot within our black community.
True. I definitely agree with that. I feel like the overall image of the black man needs to be changed, whether you're
Right.
masculine or not, because every black man is not masculine, and he shouldn't be down because he's not, because
Exactly.
he's still part of the black community.
Exactly.
The black community is made up with with a multitude of different type of peoples,
Right.
races, genders, all that.
Right.
Everyone's still part of the diaspora, but that's
Right.
something that we often overlook. So I definitely think that, like you said, changing the narrative and creating these positive images is what the black community so desperately needs.
Right.
All right, we're gonna take a little break, but I think we'll be back with more from Beast Talk.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, we are back with more from Beast Talk. How y'all doing?
Doing good.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to transition into a little more of current issues. What is you all's take on Donald Trump's presidency, and how do you think it will affect the black community?
He is not my president.
Like I say, certain things happen in this world for a reason, and I feel like everything that happens should always create a new consciousness. Let me think of how I want to exactly say this. I don't want to sound too stupid, but things happen for a reason to create a new way of thinking for everyone in the world. And Donald Trump being elected just should prove to every black individual in the world that this country is not, going to protect you. It's
No,
not.
yeah.
It's not going to protect you.
It
And
wasn't created for you.
and we always love to fall back and give up and have this mindset of complacency. But now the time is too late. You see what's going on. He's elected, and it's only been 13 days in, and he's already fired attorney generals. He's already ordered sanctions and is trying to attempt to build walls. And that's not any goodness for any person in this world. It looks like it's coming to a war, a new war that's coming. And I don't know if it's going to be called World War III or what it's going to be called, but the only way we can fight this is to go against any evil that there is with strictly positivity, and the media is going to play a large part in that. Getting him out of office or whatever it is we can do. I'm not sure what we can do, but
Yeah,
one
at this
thing
point.
one thing we can't do is to listen to ignorance. We can't entertain ignorance, and sadly, America has allowed ignorance the power. But that's all I gotta say. Don't listen to the ignorance.
One thing I, for myself, Justice Anderson, don't agree with Donald Trump or any of his sanctions or rules or anything that he wants to incorporate in America for the next 4 years. But I do feel like, as African American people, I feel like we should use Donald Trump's time as a time to really realize how important it is to have ownership of your own things. So I feel like this is a time where black people should take up building their own businesses, whether they work for their own company, have your own side business. I feel like it's a time for black people to get more heavy in their writing, screenwriting, picture taking over social media. I really feel like we, as a community, as an African American community, I feel like we should use Donald Trump as an example to really tighten up our own community and to realize that just because he's the president does not necessarily mean that he has to affect our lives in a way that we move backwards. Why not let him be a negative person but affect our lives in a positive way so that we can move forward? That's what I think.
I totally agree with that. I agree with that. Do you all feel like it's going to actually affect the black community? Because a lot of people, like myself, I kind of feel like the black community, whether it's Obama, Trump, whoever it is, it's still pretty much the black community. I saw a meme going around of the hood before Obama and after Obama, and it was
the same
pretty much the
picture.
same.
It was the same picture. And that goes to say with me and my brother Timmy, we were talking about this the other day, and he said something funny to me. He said, when Obama was in office, I've never seen so many brothers killed by the American police in my whole years of living. And he's been alive for 23 years, so that makes sense. But as far as the presidency affecting black people, it will affect black people. But like I said, I don't think it will affect black people in a negative way to where we can go to being more poor than what we already are.
Right.
If it's going to affect black people, it needs to light a fire within us to want more, to do greater, to be greater. That's what I feel like it should affect us as in.
I totally agree with that. I think that black people need to come together more. Unionize,
I
just
feel
build.
like this has kind of created some type of black unity this election. I know people have been boycotting different companies and stuff like that. I just hope people stay true to that.
Right.
And I just wish that the black community will realize how important our dollar is.
We have the greatest spending power in the world.
Yeah, and like we did an episode on materialism and just of how much money the black community wastes. Like if we took all that money we spent on material things and put it into owning land and businesses, we would really like revamp our communities and just rebuild everything. So hopefully his presidency is just an eye-opener that we need to, like you said, build up these communities again. Like we was riding through South Atlanta and just like seeing all these rundown businesses and stuff like that. Like we need to build these businesses back up, support these black businesses, all that stuff. Like that's my take on it.
But my thing is we have to look at why the black community is the way it is. I think it's so easy for us to point fingers at, the black community is, poor, this, da-da-da. But we have to ask ourselves why. The violence within the black community is at an all-time high. But we have to look at why. These drugs, these guns, we didn't put this in our communities.
Right.
So it's so easy for other people to say, oh, fix this. But you have to dissect the historical relevance behind it and why it is the way it is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think that black people do need to own more, but we have to look at why it is so much easier for white people to give loans to Asians and Koreans and Indians to come into the black community and own businesses, but not let the brother down the street own the exact same business or give him the loan to open up a business within his own community.
True. That's true.
You know, it was crazy. My teacher, one of my teachers at Morehouse, his name is David Rice, Dr. Rice. He's a very profound professor at Morehouse in the psychology department. And he teaches a course called Black Men, Black Boys in Society. And he put together a scenario for us yesterday. And he was saying that, what would you think would happen if someone was riding their bike on a trail and, you know, they were going so fast that person slipped off and fell off their bike in the trail. And there was maybe 5 boys standing there watching, you know. What do you think those people would say if they were black and if they were white, you know? And he asked us that first. First, he put a scenario together. Then he asked us, you know, what we thought would happen as a student body in the class. We have probably about 22 black males in the class. So my first thing was, man, if those were brothers, they laughing at your ass like
world star.
I'll be dying at your ass.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Right.
And then he was like, okay, so if they were white, then what do you think they would say? You know, in that situation. And, you know, the white people would be like, oh, you know, do you need help? Like, do you need me to call anybody? And what was crazy was the whole time we're like, yeah, the brothers are going to be laughing. And in the real scenario, it was the brothers that had actually asked the other dude off the bike if he needed help. So it's like, wow, you know, that was important because in my own head already, I'd already assumed that the brothers would roast the other guy that fell off the bike, specifically just from how I've seen things in society already. You know, how I see things on TV, you know, how you watch these specific movies and they portray black people always competing in a way where they either can't have it all or can't have any of it. You know, there's no ever way where people can share and come together as a community. And that's one thing we have to look at. You know, how do we see ourselves first, and how can we react in a way where it'll be beneficial to everyone?
True.
You know,
Man, y'all have some really dope answers, some really deep answers. I know Jill has one more question for y'all before y'all go.
Yeah, before
Definitely.
y'all go, the age groups that you guys work with, is it easier working with the younger kids? I know you said y'all work with all age groups. So has it been easier working with younger kids, high school kids, college students? What age group is like the easiest to work with?
Justice might tell you something different, but honestly, for me, you know, I feel like God gave me a gift to see the child in everybody. And honestly, I really be feeling like everyone's the same at all times, you know. And that's white, black people, that's Asians, that's a little toddler that's 3 years old that can't even understand one word I'm saying, versus a 62-year-old male that has been a photographer for 40 years. You know, there's things that we can all do as people to always learn from each other. You know, we can learn from children. We can teach children at the same time. You know, we can teach our teachers and learn from them at the same time. And, you know, we could always... There's always, like I always say, I always tell him, and we made up this little quote ourselves, but, you know, like a GPS does. You know, we want to teach people to have the mind of a GPS. When you run into a detour in life, you know, what does a GPS do? Recalculate and get to that destination. You know, and that destination in every soul of every person should be to make sure their person next to them is okay. And that they can survive and live. Survive and thrive. Thrive in a good way.
Yeah, I'm with him with working with the kids. He definitely has a lot more patience than I do when it comes to working with kids. Because I'm not for, you know, getting my camera taken and then running around hiding it from you and all that. But I definitely love working with kids. But I also like working with more of the people so around my age and a little bit younger. Because I don't know a lot about life, but through the camera I've learned.
What's good, everybody? We are back with a Beast Talk exclusive.
Yes, this is just Jill checking in, and tell them who we got today, Terrence.
All right, today we got the creators of Shoot with a Camera, Not a Gun. How y'all doing today?
It's good to see you, brother.
Doing good, doing good.
Okay. Tell the people who you are. What's your name?
My name is Justice Anderson. I'm a senior cinematography major from Little Rock, Arkansas. I attend Morehouse College.
And my name is Timitayo Ogoro. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. And I'm actually an African American Studies major, senior, and I love teaching kids to shoot with the camera, not a gun.
That's what's up.
Got the Morehouse men in the room.
Morehouse men in the room.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
I didn't know you was a singer, too.
Singer, you can say it all, brother.
Oh, you said senior. I thought you said singer. I was like, okay.
It's good to see ya. All right, enough of that.
All right, so every interview that we do, we start with a game called Black Card Revoked. We use it as an icebreaker. It's a game that's kind of tests your blackness, as they say, quote unquote. So, without further ado, here we go.
All right.
Just Jill, take it away.
Alrighty. First question. Jerome for Martin is a player from where? A, Detroit, B, Harlem, C, Chicago, D, the Himalayas.
D, a player from the Himalayas.
Yeah. All
All right. What? Oh, my bad. Who's poor, black, and may even be ugly, but dear God, they're still here? A, Nanny from Laquana Blues. B, Pookie from New Jack City. C, Reva from Boys in the Hood. Or D, Seeley from The Color Purple.
Ooh, I'm going to have to go with Pookie on that one because the brother didn't look too good in New Jack City, but he is still here.
It's actually D.
It's actually D.
It's Seeley from The Color Purple.
Hey, I didn't know that joint either.
Seeley?
You know,
Seeley.
Seeley from
Color
Color Purple.
Okay.
There was like a scene in
Yeah,
there.
at the end, she's like, dear God, I'm still here. I may be black. I may be ugly.
That's Tyson. Who played that?
Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, you know your stuff, brother. You know your stuff.
All right, we got another one. Which character from Martin lived on the 5th floor? A, Roscoe, B, Hustle Man, C, Dragonfly Jones, or D, Bruhman?
Hey, what they say in Atlanta? Hey, bruh, man. Hey,
There you go.
hey, bruh.
We ain't asking no more Martin questions
Yeah,
because
no more.
you definitely watch Martin.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Last time he checked, he was a man of these streets. A, Young Jeezy.
Oh.
B, Jay-Z. C, Lil Wayne. D, Drake.
Brother, it ain't winter outside, but Jeezy the Snowman did say that.
Okay. All right, here goes one everybody
Hey,
should
he's
know.
a genius, man. You
I
can't
see.
get him. You can't get him.
All right, here we go. In what